clearly. And now we're live. Welcome. Happy Friday. Are you looking to buy a home? Do you think maybe that you could never buy a home because you don't have enough money for the down payment? We are super excited today. And by the way, if we haven't met, I'm Kat with Ta-Da by Kat Next Level Staging and Design. And my guest today is a specialist, and he's going to dismantle some myths about down payment assistance. Owning a home, it should be everyone's birthright, and experiencing the American dream is doable. And I'm so excited for Emenyo Segbefia today to share with us and dismantle the myths around what you might have heard that might be, it costs too much, it takes a super long time, and there's a lot of hoops to jump through, et cetera. And he's going to dismantle all of those. He is an executive specialist for the Chenoa Fund, which is nationwide. He's coming from us today from Chicago, and his partner, Suzette, could not make it today, but she's in Chicago. If you're watching, Suzette, hello. She is our mortgage lender. So after this episode, if you'd like to get on board, find out more about getting a loan and taking advantage of the Chenoa Fund, we're going to share all of the contact information, and also this will be uploaded on our YouTube channel within 48 hours. So without further ado, Emenyo Segbefia from Ghana. I'm sorry, Ghana.
Yeah.
From Ghana. But he's been here since 1998 and sharing with us his magic and wisdom about the Chenoa Fund. Welcome, Emenyo.
Thank you, Kat, and thank you for having me on your show. I
Absolutely.
do appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Arming our viewers, if we can change one life and arm them with information that can help them fulfill their dreams, it's a good day. And so with that, let's start off with the first myth. You and I briefly chatted on the pre-show chat that a lot of folks might think that the down payment assistance still costs too much. So let's dive right into what the Chenoa Fund looks like in terms of investment, cost, et cetera, to help folks out. And also, who is it geared towards? I was reading in fact, I'm going to just switch over real quick here to read the Chenoa Fund. What do you see on the screen right now? I'm curious.
Me? I just see myself and yourself.
Oh, you still see me? Okay.
Yes.
Because I'm over in Word. So the Chenoa Fund is a national down payment assistance program provided by CBC Mortgage Agency. CBC Mortgage Agency's mission is to increase nationwide affordable and sustainable ownership with a focus on creditworthy, low and moderate income individuals. And you can go on chenoafund.org if you'd like to watch their video. I hope I don't pop myself out of here. There we go. And watch the video. So I just wanted to read that right off of your website. But let's dive into the cost investment and how it works with these folks.
So traditionally, when one of the biggest myths, I should start by saying, is you need 20% to purchase a home. That is true. Sometimes, depending on the homes, you need 20% to purchase it. But what the government did, I think back in the 90s, was come out with the FHA program. What the FHA program is now you can purchase a home with not 20%, but you can do it with 3.5%.
3.5%.
Yes. And we offer conventional financing also, where you can purchase a conventional home, like Fannie Mae Home Ready Community Seconds program, with 3%. So wow. Chenoa Fund is providing down payment assistance to creditworthy borrowers by offering that 3.5% and sometimes 5% to help you with some closing costs as well. And that's another big thing that a lot of people don't realize is once you get the down payment, there's also other fees like closing costs that you would have to cover as well. So with Chenoa Fund, we're trying to
closing costs. Let's talk about that briefly for folks who maybe have never purchased. Is there some sort of a formula like I know it used to be, you can count on the purchase price. It's about X% of the purchase price would be your closing costs. Is there still some sort of a formula like that?
It really depends on the lenders and the partners that we work with. It's slightly different on the formula to each lender and what they go by. But mostly you're paying for the processing fee and the underwriting fees, and then some of your recording and state taxes and fees like that. So that's what usually comprises in your closing costs. And
So,
depending
but
on,
what you're saying is that Chenoa will can assist in all or part of the closing costs as well as the 3 or 5%?
yes. So
Wow.
Chino Fund, if you went with the 5% option, what you can do is you can break that down if you're doing an FHA program where the minimum requirement is 3.5%. Of that 5%, you can use 3.5% for the down payment. 1.5% will be left over that you can use towards your closing costs.
Ah, okay. So let's repeat that because, I know, I've got 35 years background in real estate, all things real estate and home, and there's so many moving pieces and parts. And I know back when I really couldn't even spell FHA, I remember hearing my parents talk about terms, and I'm thinking, what language are they talking? So I want to repeat that. So let's say it's an FHA, which is a government funded loan, and they want 3.5% down payment. And I think there's some guidelines around that. So tell me how that crosses. So because I believe you can have it gifted, can you? FHA guidelines, your, let's say, a relative could gift you that 3.5%. Is that still the rule?
Yes, so there's a few forms of acceptable down payment assistance sources that FHA allows. One can be gifted from your relative or your employer or a government entity. We're in the government entity status.
An employer, really? Do employers really gift down payments?
Yes, some employers give down payment assistance.
Wow.
So, and sometimes it comes in condition of how long you work there and et cetera, depending on your employer, but they
Sure,
can provide down payment assistance. As a
sure.
governmental entity, we can provide down payment assistance. So FHA, and we work in the parameters of FHA guidelines. So we
Uh,
have what we call our overlays on FHA guidelines. And one of our overlays is FHA guidelines says you can go down to a 580 FICO score and do down payment assistance. Genoa Fund, we're saying, okay, we have an overlay to 600. So you have to have a minimum of a 600 FICO score to be able to get down payment assistance to us.
okay.
And
Okay. So let's, because I know some folks, just dismiss like, oh, my credit's in the toilet. I could never, be 600 isn't difficult. I think we've talked about before. There's some, I think apps like Karma Credit that you can sign up for free, and they'll help you, work up your credit. You can do some proactive things to really get it, let's say it's below that. But let me ask you this, let's say someone's buying a new home. We had, a new home specialist last week, and let's say they start off, they're buying a new home. They're only at 580, which satisfies the FHA requirement. Will you take them on knowing the home isn't going to be built in, I don't know how long it's taking now, 4 to 8 months? Will you take them on under the Chenoa program and give them that time to get that extra 20 points? Would that be something?
so yes, so how that works is we don't work directly with the buyers. The only time we work directly with the buyers is when we perform our home buyer seminars or realtor seminars, and realtors bring their clients in to learn more. But when it comes to the actual purchasing process, then that is all done through our lender partner like Suzette.
Like
And,
Suzette. Okay.
and some of our lender partners offer credit classes to help you build your credit or give you a step by step on how to build your credit to get there. So if you
Yeah.
start the process with a new home and your credit is like, let's say 580, then by the time you purchase the home, your credit score goes up to 620. That's something that we can work with and look at and say, okay, your credit is going to go up, and Suzette can start the application. And then when your credit goes up to 600, she can register it with Chenoa
Yes.
Fund.
That's
And
important for folks to know. My guest last week is, a proactive realtor that does new homes, that does just that. I personally, in my day, have helped clients who were even less than in the 500s work on getting their credit up and realize new home ownership by the time the home was built. And that's so rewarding, and it's so hopeful. And that's what we're hoping to give today is hope to folks to know, no matter where you're at, there is a way, there is a plan to get you into new home ownership. And funds like this Chenoa fund that's working together with your lender partners to make it happen, whether it's a resale home or a new build. And I like the idea of the new build because you can lock it in while you're building your credit and get a new home. I come from new home sales myself, over a decade in the industry, so I kind of have an aversion to new homes. But that's a great, I think that's important to reiterate to folks. Don't think, well, my credit's in the toilet, I don't have enough for the down payment, I need 20%. Erase and replace with the information you're getting today, because you can, with a plan, get into a new home.
And I do want to clarify that Chenoa Fund won't fund the process of you purchasing a new home. We will help you purchase a new home once it's completed. So that's where it's vital when you're working with a lender like Suzette. She does new builds all the time. She understands that process, and she'll help you through that process. So when you're ready to complete the home purchase, that's when you go in and come to
Okay, so that would be their first step, is working with Suzette to get it up, get the score up. But it can still happen for a new home if that's your wish and preference, is a new home. Thanks for that clarification. I did not realize that. So let's talk about some of the variables or options and numbers in terms of cost. So are you saying that should they, a home buyer, use and qualify for the Chenoa Fund, how much out of pocket would it be for them using the Chenoa Down Payment Assistance Fund?
That depends on the partner that you're working with, and it depends on the current climate as far as rates goes. So typically with the Chenoa Fund, you are expected to pay something as far as out of pocket, but it's not required by us. It depends on your lender and how they have their fees and their pricing set up. So that's what dictates how much you have to pay. We have over 250 lenders that we work with, so it's hard to pinpoint and say this is the exact amount that you expect to pay.
But the percentage is something, whatever it is, that the percentage is 3.5% to 5%, up to 5%. Chenoa Fund will contribute to down payment plus closing costs.
That is correct.
Yeah,
that is correct. And this topic is huge to me because I came from, when we moved from Ghana to America, I went to the inner city, New York. So home purchasing and purchasing a home and home ownership was not a big deal there. Well, it was when I moved out to Utah that I realized, purchasing a home is actually something that you want to do, and that it's not something that's far out the norm. And it wasn't until I worked for Chenoa Fund that I realized that I can actually purchase a home at 3.5%. So there's an education and step-by-step program that I'm trying to work on to help bridge that gap from people that come from my background, to say, hey, look, you can purchase a home anywhere in the United States as long as you understand what to do and what those steps are.
Exactly. And that's critical. And that's what we try to do here on this platform, is to provide information to power up people. It's you don't know what you don't know, and having that information and someone to guide you through, like Suzette, through the process, and really the benefits that are available, because I think many people just don't realize that there is down payment assistance available. Now, you say creditworthy. What are the main I guess components to qualify, for someone to qualify to receive the Chenoa Fund? Are there limitations or qualifications for that?
Yes, so there are limitations. So right now, our best program is called the Rate Advantage. And that Rate Advantage—
What is it called?
The Rate Advantage.
Rate Advantage.
Yes. And that program has a set of criteria that you would have to meet to purchase a home. And it's pretty easy. First is you have to have at least a 640 FICO score.
Okay.
your debt to income ratio, and this is something that Suzette.
FHA as well, 50%, isn't it? Which is very generous because on a conventional, it's typically less than that.
That is
correct?
correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. And the debt to income ratio can help you purchase more homes. So you can increase. That's why the debt to income ratio is there, because it can help you purchase more home. And the higher you go, the more debt you're incurring, and then assuming the bigger the house is. So, and then also the other thing with that program is it's for single family residents only, and you do not
Okay.
have to be a first time home buyer.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and it offers you a 3.5 or 5% as well.
So that's good to know because I don't recall on FHA, is that first time home buyer? I know one of the requirements is you can't have more than one FHA loan going on at a time, but FHA isn't necessarily for first time home buyers, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's, and you can, the big rule is you cannot have more than 2 FHA loans at the same time unless you meet what they call their 100-mile rule. And Suzette can get into details on that for you once you talk to your underwriter. But yes, so you don't have to be a first-time home buyer to be able to purchase use the Chenal Fund Rated Advantage. And another huge factor to that one is the qualifying income. Most of the time when you work with DPA programs, they go by the household income. But we're looking at specifically the borrower that is qualifying for the Chenal Fund loan. And that borrower's income has to meet the income limits. That's a huge plus because if you have kids that are in your home, and let's say they're working, we're not factoring their income into what you, the primary borrower, or the co-borrower is using to purchase.
Okay, I'm confused. So you're looking for more income or less income? So you've got a husband and wife, or a couple. You don't take both their income into consideration. Only one.
Yes, we only take only one because the rate advantage has an income limit. So you want to be below the income limit.
Ah.
So whoever they put on the application, let's say you have a husband and wife, and then just the husband wants to be on the loan, then we'll just look at just the husband's income and not the wife's income. Because a wife's income may push the husband out of the income limit, especially if she's doing really well.
Got you. Okay, so that's the rate advantage because again, as your mission statement is, it's you're looking to help folks that are low to mid, step into new home ownership. So this isn't a fund for wealthy investors.
No, it's not. They would have to visit Suzette if they need other options like that.
Yeah, they can check Suzette if they're a wealthy investor, of course. On that, okay. Okay, well, awesome. Anything more before we go to the next topic, and that is how long it takes? Maybe perhaps a myth that may be out there that it takes a long time, much longer than traditional loans, and of course in today's still pretty fast-paced market, even though interest rates are going up, that could be a deterrent if there's too much red tape and you can't get past the option period, loan acceptance, and so forth. So is there anything left on cost we should talk about? Okay, so let's move right into that and dismantle any misnomers on the overly lengthy process. Talk us through that.
So Chenal Fund does not have a lengthy process. Most of the DPAs, let me not say most, some DPAs out there require what we call a second underwrite. So that means once Suzette underwrites the file with her underwriter and then sends it over, that she would have to send it over to the DPA housing shop, the local DPA, and then they will then do a second underwrite. That process can sometimes, you've heard of it, is taking as much as 60 days. So that right there lengthens the process of you trying to get down payment assistance. Well, when Chenal Fund started, the founder said, no, we have to eliminate that and make it a fully delegated process. But what that means is once Suzette underwrites it with her underwriter and says this meets FHA and Chenal Fund criteria, they do not have to send it to us for a second underwriting approval. That right there increases speed and efficiency, especially in a seller's market. What you need is speed and efficiency. And another thing too, that is, especially now that we're in a seller's market because of COVID, and the interest rates being so low and they're not going up, is most of our loan officer partners, what they're doing is sending the loans through underwriting first before the buyer even goes out to look
Uh,
at the home.
uh,
So that helps down payment assistance borrower or somebody that needs down payment assistance help almost becomes like a cash, turns them into a cash borrower because they've
wow.
done the underwriting footwork. They've already done all the legwork. Now all they have to do is find a home in the parameters that the underwriters.
Okay, I love that, and I love that you guys are proactive on that. You've obviously taken something that could be a sore spot and been proactive because, you know, I hear deals falling through all of the time, and I'm just baffled that it has to do with loan. Now, you know, we can't stop someone loses their job, quits their job, you know, has some kind of a family catastrophe, but you know, you shouldn't be finding at the ninth hour that they didn't get through underwriting. You
Correct.
know, that shouldn't happen. So I love that. And so again, so for folks who are like, what is underwriting and this and that, you know, the underwriting is really taking it a pre qual or pre-approval. They've only done this much, you know, but you get into underwriting, that's when they dig deep and they verify everything to really secure that you're going to get approved and fund at the end of the day, because you know, that's what's important. You don't have a home until it's funded. So I love that your company is proactive on that and really has circumvented, you know, maybe in some other down payment programs that are lengthy. You've really taken a proactive stance to mitigate that delay.
Yes.
So, so you can do a 30-day close, I'm assuming.
Yes, you can do a 30-day close. Well, you can close sooner than 30 days, depending on the lender's underwriting team and how staffed they are and what their process is. So, and a lot of times what happens is, let's say you're purchasing a home, you have your down payment and a family emergency comes up. So
Yeah.
now you don't have your down payment anymore because you use it to, finance your the family emergency or whatever the case may
Right.
be. A lot of times that happens with Genoa Fund, and your lender is scrambling and looking for a way to go. You can turn to us because we knew they had the cash. They can get the down payment through us and still fund and close in less than 30 days. That is huge because now you're not losing your home or the possible dream house that you wanted because of a family emergency.
Okay, run that by me again. So you're stepping up and loaning them more money? I guess I'm
Oh, no,
not.
no, we're not loaning them more money. So what happens is when your lender locks in the loan and say you're going to get this and you have your down payment, but then
Right.
you use that down payment for a family emergency, there's a void there. So now we come in and step in and give you the down payment assistance.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, they didn't initially apply for a Chenoa fund, but then life happened
Yes,
and they were in the loan process, and Suzette says, I know how we can fix this. I have a solution. Let me call Chenoa Fund.
yes,
I like that. I like that. That's really good. So if you're a realtor out there watching this, you know, team up with Suzette, because, you know, as long as I've been in all things real estate, I know one thing to be true, that your transaction, you know, I call it, but it's, you know, it's really a purchase of the next step in your new home journey, or selling to move on to the next step in your journey, is only as good as if the loan goes through. And so it's extremely important to team up with knowledgeable, experienced, think outside the box, solution driven loan officers. So yeah, kudos to that. Yeah, I love that. I love that when um, you know, all avenues of the transaction really think outside the box and work together as a team effort for, you know, for the ultimate goal, you know, which is to make it happen.
yes,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yes. And
Awesome, awesome.
one last thing to add that I thought about
Yes.
as far as misconceptions is down payment assistance funds runs out. That's a huge misconception, and that deters a lot of
Ah,
realtors away from it. So between that and the cost, and also the other one that we mentioned was shoot, it's escaping my mind. Cost,
how long it takes.
how long it takes, and then and in this point right now, is the fact that we're flexible. We follow FHA guidelines, and that's huge because we don't have any additional overlays. Because sometimes you'll be working with DPA, and then you have additional overlays. Then all of a sudden, your buyer doesn't fit into the program. That is something that is huge.
So what do you mean overlay? Describe to our audience what do you mean by overlay?
Overlays is, for example, sometimes when you work with down payment assistance programs, you're not as wide open as if you're bringing your own money to the table.
Right.
There is some parameters to make sure that those buyers credit worthy and they can still purchase the home. So there would be some overlays like your debt to income ratio can exceed this amount, or you can't have X amount of money in your bank account while you're still getting down payment assistance. That's a huge one because especially in this day and age, you need some reserves to be able to purchase the home, and if something happens.
So that's not a consideration done with the Genoa Fund?
That is correct.
Well, that's excellent. Yeah, because typically, I used to describe it as a three-legged table, not being a loan officer, but, you're looking at debt to income ratio, your FICO score, and your available income. That's kind of the meat of how lenders will, look at you as creditworthy. So, that's really good to know because, like you said, folks need reserves, especially in today's economy and inflation, et cetera. They don't want to have zero bank account. So that's excellent. That's excellent to know. And I know you work very closely with all of your financial assistants, such as Suzette, et cetera. And that's great. It's great to know that there's funds out there. Now, the last point that you made, Emenyo, I'm talking, 20 some years ago back in Southern California when I first got my real estate license and was actively selling real estate in California. I remember hearing, working with some first-time home buyers that, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any more of the teachers fund down payment. Just example, I don't know if that was it. And, so I would have thought, well, they run out. And you're saying it doesn't run out.
So I'm saying Genoa Fund doesn't run out. There's still some down payment assistance there that do run out of funds. Genoa Fund does not run out.
So that's one thing that really sets you apart.
Yes.
So if you're looking at other down payments, again, if you're looking to buy a home now or in the future, someone, write down Genoa Fund, power up with information, because maybe your lender and or realtor doesn't know about Genoa Fund. Now you know about Genoa Fund. So folks wouldn't contact you directly for information, or could they?
They could contact me directly for information. I'm more than welcome to have you and point you in the right direction, especially in the Houston area. You have Suzette down there that has been killing it. She has a lot of builder relationships that can help you with those new home purchases or existing home purchases. And she works with a wide team of people that can assist you as well. So if you want to reach out to me directly, please do.
And what's the best cell phone or?
Yes, cell phone number is the best. As you can see, I'm traveling on the road. So cell phone number is 347 726 1822.
1822. So if you just have some questions, and Emenyo can put you in contact with Suzette if you're in the Houston area to get a loan started or get the process started.
And I'm assuming you're nationwide too. So if you need referrals to anybody else that's nationwide, please let me know. I can refer you to lenders all across the nation.
I love that. Nationwide. If you have relatives anywhere in the country, Emenyo can refer you to the direct contact for your area. Thank you so much, Emenyo. It was a pleasure. This will be posted on our YouTube channel, Tadal by Cat. If you haven't signed up and hit the bell, do subscribe to our channel. We put new stuff every week. Not only our Cat's Home Chat, but we're starting to put tips and tricks and before and after and some other what we think you will find valuable information on our site. And happy Friday, whether you're celebrating Easter or just, what I call renewal, put on your bonnet. This is my Texas Easter bonnet. And I think you need to have a bonnet, okay? I was reading about it. It dates back to like Shakespearean times, wearing a bonnet. I was wondering, where did the Easter bonnet tradition come come to be. And it started in Europe, but even goes back to like Elizabethan times. So this is, I think, kind of a Texas version, don't you think?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I can see the cowboy hat look on the top, and then the
Yes,
bonnet
well,
on the bottom.
it's a little, yeah, yes. Oh, so put your Easter bonnet on. And if you don't celebrate Easter, celebrate renewal, hope, love. Have a fabulous weekend. And as always, we encourage you to stay hopeful, stay positive, and stay connected. And we thank you so much for connecting with me and Emenyo Segbefia from Chenoa Fund today. Have a super, super weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.